All right, y'all, we got passive aggressive ways people got revenge. If y'all are new to the channel, subscribe right now. Let's check this out.
The Good Neighbor. George Lucas, the guy who made Star Wars, spent 25
Oh,
years trying.
whoa.
The Good Neighbor. George Lucas, the guy who made Star Wars,
Damn, he made Star Wars. This might sound crazy, but I didn't know that.
spent 25 years trying to build a film studio on his own land in Marin County, California. His neighbors, some of the richest people in the state, fought him every single time. They said it would ruin their views, block the stars at night, tank their property values. Every proposal, every permit, they shot down. In 2012, Lucas finally gave up on the studio. Then he told everyone what he was going to build instead: 224 units of affordable housing for low income workers and seniors, right there on his land in one of the richest zip codes in America. And he was paying for the whole thing himself, around $150 million out of pocket. They'd worked so hard to keep a movie studio out, and now they were getting something they wanted even less. But there was nothing they could do about it. You can't go on camera and say you're against affordable housing, not without looking like exactly the kind of person everyone already thought you were. One neighbor accused him of inciting class warfare. When reporters asked if this was revenge, his people said absolutely not. All Lucas said was, "We've got enough millionaires here." His neighbors spent 25 years trying to control what he built. He let them pick their own punishment. The Laughing Walls. A
What?
guy named Duke found out his girlfriend was cheating on him. She didn't just break it off, she told him to pack his stuff and be gone by the time she got back from a work trip. Before he left, he bought some tiny noisemakers. They'd go off at random times, and the sounds were so faint you'd only hear them if you were in the same room. Children laughing, scratching. You'd never be sure you actually heard it. He tucked them behind outlet covers, inside curtain rods, under floorboards, taped to the back of shelves. A different sound in every room. Then he walked out. He had no idea if it would even work. Months later, Duke was grabbing drinks with a mutual friend, and the breakup came up. The friend was almost in tears laughing. His ex and her new boyfriend had been telling people the house was making them hear things, sounds at random hours, and they never heard the same thing at the same time. She'd be in the kitchen hearing children laugh. He'd be in the living room hearing nothing. They started arguing over who was imagining it. The boyfriend cracked first and moved out. She followed not long after. The house she kicked Duke out of, she couldn't live in anymore. All he did was leave a few things behind. The costume party. A woman was getting engaged and felt like she had to invite her half sister Heather, even though the two of them had never gotten along. A few days before the party, Heather sent over a photo of what she was planning to wear: white, covered in crystals, with gold details, basically a wedding dress. The dress code was smart casual, so the bride changed the whole thing to a costume party. She messaged every single guest about the switch, every guest except Heather. Instead, she asked their dad to pass the message along. She knew he'd either forget completely or mention it way too late. Either way, Heather wouldn't get the memo. The night of the party, guests showed up as ABBA members, anime characters, all sorts. The bride and her fiancé came as Bubbles and Mojo Jojo from the Powerpuff Girls. Then Heather walked in an hour late, like she owned the place, wearing that crystal dress. People looked, but not the way she wanted. $1,000 dress, and the whole room just thought it was part of the theme. The bride's fiancé walked right up to her, looked her up and down, and told her the dress looked amazing for a cheap costume. Heather left the party in tears. She came to outshine the bride. Instead, nobody even knew she was trying. The fire pit. In the spring of 2024, a guy named Daniel got new neighbors. One of them, Pete, drove his Mustang up and down the street every evening with the muffler removed, revving it as loud as he could. The whole street asked him to stop. Pete told them, "I'll do what I want in my own yard." Daniel had lived there 15 years. He knew that if he put his fire pit near the back fence, the smoke drifted straight into the neighbor's yard. He'd moved it away years ago out of respect for the people before Pete. But after hearing that, he moved it right back. He waited until Pete had people over, lit a fire with the wettest wood he could find, and within 10 minutes the smoke was so thick they all went inside. Next morning, he asked the HOA group for lawn clippings. 20 neighbors dropped off bags within hours, enough to keep it going for 3 straight weeks. Pete finally came over and asked him to stop. The smoke was getting in through the vents. Daniel said it's funny how what we do can affect the people around us. Then he told Pete that a man should have no problem with his neighbor doing what he wants in his own yard. Pete went quiet. His wife said they understood. Nobody heard the Mustang after that. The Antique Box. In
Dang.
2018, 2 guys worked construction on the same crew. One of them was a problem. He made fun of the other guy constantly, tried to get him fired for no reason, and acted like he ran the site. One lunch break, the coworker was running his mouth about what he'd do if he ever came into money. Quit on the spot, walk up to the boss, tell him off, and leave. The other guy was sitting right there, listening. He went out and bought a handful of fake gold coins in an antique box, packed the coins inside, brought it to the house they were fixing up, and buried it in a wall where he knew the coworker would be working next. A few days later, the coworker found it. He opened the box, saw the gold, and lost his mind. Walked straight over to the boss, called him a loser, and quit right there. Told everyone he was done with construction for good. The boss didn't fight it. He'd actually been looking for a reason to let the guy go, so he was happy to accept. The coworker found out pretty quick the coins were fake. Didn't matter. No one on that crew was ever going to work with him again. All it cost was a box and some fake coins. The wrong number. A guy in Canada got a new phone number. Problem was, it used to belong to a woman named Christine. She'd never updated it with anyone, so he started getting her calls. Debt collectors, old friends, family, doctors. Every time, he'd explain it wasn't her number and ask them to pass the message along. Every time, they said they would. And every time, the calls kept coming. A few months in, he stopped being polite about it. Whenever a text came in about one of Christine's appointments, he'd wait until the last minute and cancel it. Hair salon, doctor, whatever. If it came through his phone, it got canceled. He did this for an entire year. Then he got a text from Christine's boss asking to schedule a meeting. So he texted back and said she was quitting. The boss went off on her for not giving notice, and he just replied, "Get Christine to change her number." Next day, Christine herself texted him for the first time, furious. He kept it short. "Change your number or I'll keep canceling everything." That's when it hit her. A whole year of missed appointments. And she'd never once figured out why. She changed her number that day. All he ever wanted was for her to update her contacts. The long game. A university student finished his group project report 2 weeks early. They all ran the same experiment, but each person had to write their own paper. 2 days before the deadline, one of his group members called in a panic. She hadn't started, asked if he could send his so she could understand the structure. He did, and regretted it almost right away. Night before it was due, she asked him to look over her draft. He opened it, and it was almost word for word his report. She'd copied the whole thing and sent it right back to him to check. He pulled it back up and got to work. Used find and replace to swap common words with swear words. Rewrote the methodology as a recipe for spaghetti bolognese. Swapped the data table for football scores. Changed every reference to a Harry Potter character. And for the conclusion, he wrote a full confession of her plagiarism. He sent it back. She never called. 3 weeks later, he found out she'd submitted it without reading a single word. The professors pulled her in for academic misconduct. She failed the course and nearly got expelled. She couldn't be bothered to read it. 5 years later, teachers were still passing it around to warn new students about plagiarism. The Blue Trail. A guy who worked at a printing company had a neighbor problem. Every garbage day, they'd let their Labrador run loose. The dog would tear through his trash bags and spread everything across the yard. He asked them more than once to keep it under control. They never did. Because of his job, getting his hands on heavy-duty blue ink was easy, completely safe, wouldn't hurt the dog, but once it got on something, it wasn't coming off. He bought a box of KFC, ate the chicken, and tied the leftover bones to the bottom of the box. Then he smeared the whole thing with as much blue ink as he could, put it inside a trash bag, left it on the curb with the rest, and went to bed. Next morning, the bag had been ripped open. A trail of bright blue paw prints led straight to the neighbor's house. 2 days later, a carpet company van showed up next door. He walked over and asked what happened. The neighbor was furious. Their dog had come running inside covered in something blue. It got on the carpet, the couch, the walls. The damage ran into the thousands. He smiled, said nothing, and went home. The dog never came near his trash again. The neighbor never figured out where the ink came from. The wasted trip. A woman was waiting in line at a gas station when the guy at the pump finished up and just stood there chatting with the driver next to him. Cars piled up. People honked. One guy got out and told him to move. The man laughed in his face and kept talking for 5 more minutes before driving off. On his way out, she caught the phone number printed on the side of his van. He was a plasterer. She wrote it down. A few weeks later, she called him up and asked for a quote on some work at her new house. He was happy to take it. She gave him an address. It was a rundown house a few streets from hers. She had nothing to do with it. He showed up and she wasn't there. He called, left voicemails. She got back to him later, said she was sorry. Her husband fell off a ladder and she had to rush him to the hospital. They booked another day. She didn't show up to that one either. When she finally called, he was angry. At first, she played it sweet. Then she told him it reminded her of sitting at a gas station, waiting, while some guy wasted everyone's time and laughed about it. The line went quiet. She hung up laughing. His turn to wait. The paint job. In 2013, the house directly across from the Westboro Baptist Church in Topeka, Kansas went up for sale. Aaron Jackson, the founder of a nonprofit called Planting Peace, bought it for $81,000. Then he painted it in the colors of the pride flag, every stripe, the whole house. A military veteran volunteered to do the job. When it was done, the members of Westboro walked outside, and there it was. He could paint his own house whatever color he wanted, and there wasn't a thing they could do about it. The place turned into a hub for LGBTQ+ events, anti-bullying programs, charity drives. A 5-year-old girl set up a lemonade stand on the front lawn and raised over $30,000. Someone held a wedding between Gandalf and Dumbledore on the porch. Week after week, something new, all of it playing out in full view of the church. Planting Peace later bought the house next door too, and painted that one in the colors of the transgender pride flag. The members of Westboro preach against these communities every single day. And every single day, they walk outside, and the first thing they see is 2 houses celebrating everything they hate. Nobody yelled at them. Nobody protested on their lawn. Someone just bought the house across the street and picked a paint color. The welcome home. In 2015, Laura Arnold from Birmingham, England, found messages on her husband Craig's phone. He was talking to a woman in New York who was planning to give him a warm welcome when he got there for a 2-week business trip. Laura didn't say a word. She smiled, wished him a good trip, and waved him off. As soon as he was gone, she got moving. Her parents had helped pay for the house, and Craig's name wasn't on any of it. She didn't need his say-so to sell, so she listed it with a company that buys homes fast. The whole thing was done in under 2 weeks. She sold the place to be used as student housing, packed up her own stuff, and left. Craig's things she left behind, thrown in as part of the sale. 2 weeks later, Craig came home from his trip. His key didn't fit the lock. He rang the doorbell, and a group of college students answered the door. He argued. He called her. He called lawyers. Didn't matter. The papers were signed, and the money had already changed hands. When reporters asked her about it, all Laura said was, "Things aren't great between us at the moment." He left for 2 weeks with a wife and a house. He came back with neither. The open drawer. There was a guy at work with a wife and a house. He came back with neither. The
Bro, he came back with neither.
open drawer. There was a guy at work nobody could stand. Loud. Took credit for everything and talked down to anyone who couldn't fight back. One of his co-workers got tired of it. He didn't say anything. Didn't go to the boss. He just went out and got a wireless mouse. The kind with a tiny receiver you plug into a computer. One morning he showed up early and plugged that receiver into the back of the guy's machine. Then, he took the mouse to his own desk, 3 rows over, and left it in his drawer. Every time he slid that drawer open, the mouse shifted, and the guy's cursor moved with it. Not a lot. A little jump to the left, a slow slide to the right. Never when anyone was looking. The guy put in a help ticket. IT found nothing. He put in another. They swapped his mouse. Another. They went through his settings, his ports, his drivers. Nothing helped, because nothing was wrong with his computer. This went on for 2 months. The guy was losing it, told people his computer was haunted, begged to move desks. IT just stopped taking his calls. The whole time, the one who did it was 3 rows away, quietly sliding a drawer open and shut. All he ever did was open a drawer. If you'd like to see more videos
That's crazy. For 2 months, too. That is crazy, bro. That is crazy.
like this, make sure to subscribe and feel free to drop suggestions for the next video in the comments.
Alright, y'all, that's it for this video. Y'all comment down below what y'all think about this, and also comment down below what y'all think I should react to next. If y'all are new to the channel, subscribe right now. I love y'all. Stay blessed, and we out of here. See y'all in the next one.